High above Arcturus Prime, the UNSS Aegis began to transform once again, its massive hull reconfiguring to form the central hub of the new Nexus station. As ships from 100 worlds approached to dock and join the initiative, humanity's greatest gambit, a bet on the power of unity and cooperation, began to pay off. The galaxy would face many challenges in the years to come, but it would face them together. And in the annals of cosmic history, it would be remembered that when humanity finally revealed its true nature to the stars, it was not as conquerors, but as guardians, teachers, and friends. This announcement sent a shockwave through the assembly. Such technologies would revolutionize life across the galaxy overnight. The chamber erupted into excited discussions, with delegates hurriedly conferring with their home governments. As the debates raged on, a junior aide rushed to Grand Arbiter Zexlor, whispering urgently. The Arbiter's eye stalks quivered in alarm. "Silence, please. We've just received a priority alert. A chronivore has been detected at the edge of the Cygnus Arm. 3 star systems have already winked out of existence." Panic threatened to overtake the chamber, but Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. "This is precisely the kind of threat the Nexus Initiative is designed to face. If you'll allow it, the Aegis can be there in minutes. We can show you firsthand how humanity fights these cosmic horrors." Zexlor's gelatinous form rippled with indecision for a moment before firming with resolve. "Do it, Ambassador. And we'll come with you." It's time the Council saw these threats with their own eyes. Within moments, the Aegis had teleported the entire Council leadership aboard. The ship's interior was a marvel of ergonomic design and advanced technology, adapting to the physiological needs of each alien passenger instantly. As they dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Cygnus Arm, the view screens showed a sight that defied comprehension. A writhing mass of temporal energy, vaguely resembling a gargantuan jellyfish, pulsed at the center of a maelstrom of warped spacetime. Where its tendrils touched, stars simply ceased to be, leaving holes in the very fabric of the universe. "By all that's sacred," breathed Admiral Vexkar, his mandibles clicking in terror. Sarah's voice was steady as she issued commands. "All hands, initiate chronoshield protocols. Prepare temporal lances. We're going to excise this thing from our reality." The Aegis's hull began to glow with an otherworldly light as it generated a bubble of stable time around itself. Massive cannons emerged from hidden recesses, each thrumming with energy that seemed to distort the space around them. What followed was a battle unlike anything the Council members had ever witnessed. The Aegis danced through the chronal maelstrom, its weapons firing beams of concentrated temporal energy that sliced through the chronovore's mass. Where the beams struck, sections of the creature were cut off from the time stream, effectively erased from existence. The chronovore retaliated, its tendrils lashing out to erase the Aegis from history. But the ship's chronoshield held firm, the attacks sliding off into the void. Throughout the battle, Sarah provided a running commentary, explaining each tactic and technology in use. The Council members watched in awe as humanity's full capabilities were put on display. Finally, with a reality-warping blast from its main cannon, the Aegis struck the chronovore's core. The creature let out a silent scream that rippled through time itself before collapsing into a singularity and vanishing from existence. As normalcy returned to the region of space, Sarah turned to the stunned Council members. "This is what we face. This is why we need to stand united. Humanity cannot safeguard the galaxy alone, nor do we wish to. We need your knowledge, your perspectives, your unique abilities. Together, we can forge a defense against even the most unimaginable horrors." The return journey to Arcturus Prime was filled with animated discussion as the Council leaders, their fear replaced by excitement and determination, began to plan for the new future that lay before them. As they re-entered the Council chambers, the mood had shifted dramatically. Where there had been suspicion and doubt, now there was a sense of purpose and unity. Grand Arbiter Zexlor raised his tentacles for silence. "Fellow representatives, we have witnessed both the threat we face and the power of unity in confronting it. I call for an immediate vote on joining humanity's Nexus initiative. One by one, the member races voiced their agreement. Even Chancellor Krill, the most skeptical among them, voted in favor. If this is humanity's gambit, he chimed, then it is one I believe we must take. As the vote concluded unanimously in favor of the initiative, Sarah allowed herself a moment of relief and joy. She addressed the assembly one final time. Thank you for your trust. The path ahead will not be easy, but I have faith that together we can overcome any challenge. Let this be remembered as the day when the sentient beings of the Milky Way chose unity over division, hope over fear, and life over oblivion. As cheers erupted throughout the chamber, the first streams of data containing humanity's advanced technologies were transmitted to the Council databases. The Nexus initiative was officially underway. Humanity's gambit. In the wake of the Void Leviathan attack and the revelation of humanity's true capabilities, the galaxy found itself at a crossroads. The Galactic Council chambers on Arcturus Prime buzzed with activity as representatives from every member race gathered to discuss the new paradigm. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the center of the grand amphitheater, her posture relaxed, but her eyes sharp, taking in every reaction and whispered conversation. The UNSS Aegis hung in orbit above, a silent reminder of Earth's power and the protection it offered. Grand Arbiter Zexlor called the session to order, his gelatinous form undulating with barely contained excitement. Esteemed colleagues, we stand at the dawn of a new era. The humans have demonstrated power beyond our wildest imagination, and now offer us partnership. Today, we must decide the future of our galactic civilization. A murmur rippled through the assembled delegates. Chancellor Krill's crystalline form vibrated as he spoke. While the human strength is undeniable, can we truly trust a species that deceived us so thoroughly? Sarah stepped forward, her voice clear and unwavering. Chancellor, distinguished representatives, I understand your reservations. Our deception was born not of malice, but of caution. Humanity's history is scared by conflict, often triggered by fear of the unknown or the different. We chose to reveal ourselves gradually, to understand the galactic community before showing our hand. She paused, letting her words sink in. But now, faced with threats that endanger not just our galaxy, but the very fabric of reality, we offer full transparency and partnership. Admiral Vexkar chittered thoughtfully. You speak of threats beyond the Void Leviathans. What else lurks in the darkness between stars, Ambassador? Sarah's expression turned grim. The universe is far more perilous than most realize. We've detected signs of a malevolent intelligence spreading across distant galaxies, consuming all in its path. We call it the entropy swarm. Then there are the chronivores, entities that devour time itself, erasing entire civilizations from history. And these are just the threats we know of. A hush fell over the chamber as the magnitude of these cosmic horrors sank in. Matriarch Sura, her luminous eyes filled with concern, asked, "How can we hope to face such dangers?" Sarah smiled, a hint of that human determination shining through. Together, Matriarch. Humanity has developed technologies and strategies to combat these threats, but we are not infallible. Each of your species brings unique perspectives, abilities, and technologies to the table. United, we stand a fighting chance. She gestured, and a holographic display sprang to life in the center of the chamber. It showed a massive space station, shaped like a five-pointed star, with ships of various designs docked at each point. This is our proposal, the Nexus Initiative, a joint endeavor combining the best minds, technologies, and resources from every willing race. Together, we'll create defenses, study the threats we face, and push the boundaries of science to secure our collective future. The display zoomed in, showing laboratories where members of different species worked side by side, shipyards constructing vessels that blended multiple technological styles, and training facilities where diverse teams learned to operate as one. Chancellor Krill's crystalline form shimmered with intrigue. Ambitious, certainly, But how do we know humanity won't simply use this initiative to consolidate its power over us? Sarah's response was calm but firm. Chancellor, if domination were our goal, we could have achieved it already. Instead, we choose cooperation. As a show of good faith, we're prepared to share some of our most advanced technologies immediately, including our zero-point energy reactors and quantum communication arrays. The human fleet dispersed, taking up defensive positions around the Council Armada. And as stars twinkled in the now quiet backdrop of space, the seeds of a new galactic order were sown, one born from deception, forged in battle, and destined to shape the fate of the cosmos. The Aegis's size alone was staggering, easily 100 times larger than the Council flagship. But it was the ship's details that truly showcased humanity's advancement. Sections of the hull shifted and reconfigured in real time, adapting to the chaos of battle around it. Energy fields flickered in and out of existence, intercepting the Leviathan's attacks before they could reach their targets. From the Aegis's flanks, swarms of smaller craft emerged, each one a technological marvel in its own right. They moved with a fluidity that seemed to defy the laws of inertia, darting between the Leviathan's tentacles and delivering pinpoint energy strikes. Those fighters, Admiral Vexkar observed, professional awe overriding his fear. They move as if they're alive. Sarah nodded. In a sense, they are. Each is controlled by an AI core, linked directly to the pilot's mind. Human reflexes enhanced by machine precision. As they watched, the Aegis brought its primary weapons to bear. Massive apertures opened along its length, revealing technology that seemed to warp the fabric of space-time itself. Beams of concentrated exotic matter lanced out, slicing through the void Leviathan's otherworldly flesh. The eldritch horrors recoiled, clearly wounded for the first time since their arrival. Their attacks became more frenzied, more desperate. Dark matter tentacles lashed out en masse, attempting to overwhelm the Aegis through sheer force. But the human Dreadnought stood firm. Its adaptive hull absorbed and redirected the energy of each strike, while its weapons continued to systematically dismantle the cosmic threats. On the celestial harmony, the council leaders watched in stunned silence. It was Chancellor Krill who finally found his voice. All this time, you had this power, this technology. Why reveal it now? Why not earlier? Sarah's expression turned solemn. Chancellor, humanity's history is filled with examples of advanced civilizations being feared and attacked by those who didn't understand them. We needed to know we could trust the Council before revealing our true capabilities. And the deception, Zexlor pressed. The primitive ships, the bumbling diplomacy. A necessary precaution, Sarah replied. It allowed us to position our forces, to understand the galactic political landscape without being seen as a threat, and it gave us time to prepare for threats like this. She gestured to the battle raging around them. As they spoke, the tide of the battle was turning decisively. The void Leviathans, for all their cosmic horror, were no match for the combined might of humanity's Dreadnought and its swarm of AI-controlled fighters. One by one, the rifts were sealed, the eldritch entities forced back into their own dimension. With a final reality-warping blast from its main cannon, the Aegis closed the last rift. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the cheers and exclamations of disbelief from the council ships. Sarah's voice cut through the celebration, her tone serious. This victory is significant, but it's only the beginning. The void Leviathans will return, and there are other threats lurking in the dark between galaxies. Humanity stands ready to face them, but we can't do it alone. She paused, looking each council member in the eye before continuing. We offer you a choice. Join us as true allies, pooling our knowledge and resources to defend not just this galaxy, but all of existence, or continue as you were, with humanity serving as a silent guardian. The decision is yours. The council chamber erupted into heated debate, voices raised in fear, awe, anger, and hope. Through it all, Matriarch Sarah remained silent, her empathic senses probing the emotions radiating from the human ambassador. Finally, she spoke, her voice cutting through the chaos. "I sense no deception from you now, Ambassador Chen. Only a deep resolve and hope. Perhaps it's time we all learn to trust a little more." She turned to her fellow council members. "I, for one, vote to accept humanity's offer of alliance." One by one, the other council races voiced their agreement. Even the most skeptical among them couldn't deny the power and protection humanity could offer. As the vote concluded, Sarah allowed herself a genuine smile. "Thank you for your trust. Together, we'll forge a future brighter than any single race could achieve alone." The Aegis's engines flared to life, its massive form beginning to shift and separate back into the individual ships that composed it. As the council watched in renewed awe, Sarah's final words resonated through the comms. "Let this be the dawn of a new era, one where the combined strength of our civilizations stands as a beacon of hope against the darkness that threatens us all." The Galactic Deception. The vast chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with anticipation. Hundreds of alien delegates from across the Milky Way gathered in the enormous amphitheater, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life in the universe. Holographic displays flickered above each section, translating the myriad languages into a common format for all to understand. At the center of attention stood the Earth delegation. 5 humans in simple, unadorned spacesuits that looked positively archaic compared to the sleek, almost invisible protective gear of the other species. The lead human, Ambassador Sarah Chen, stepped forward, her helmet retracting with a soft hiss to reveal a face etched with determination. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice firm despite the palpable disdain emanating from many of the delegates, "we come before you as representatives of Earth, seeking admission to this august body." A ripple of murmurs and derisive clicks swept through the chamber. From his elevated podium, Grand Arbiter Zexlor of the Vex Concordat raised a tentacle for silence. "Ambassador Chen," the gelatinous being burbled through its translator, "your species has barely mastered rudimentary faster-than-light travel. What could Earth possibly offer to the Galactic Council?" Sarah smiled diplomatically, though her eyes flashed with a hint of something deeper. Amusement, perhaps, or secret knowledge. "Grand Arbiter, distinguished delegates, we offer friendship, an eagerness to learn, and a unique perspective that may surprise you." From the Arcturus sector, Chancellor Krill of the Silicon Consciousness scoffed, his crystalline form vibrating with disdain. "Friendship? Learning? We need allies capable of defending our borders and advancing our scientific understanding, not pets." The insult hung in the air, but the humans showed no reaction. Instead, Lieutenant Commander Jackson, standing just behind Sarah, coughed softly into his hand, a seemingly nervous gesture that went unnoticed by all but the most observant aliens in the room. High Matriarch Zara of the Empathic Collective leaned forward, her luminous eyes narrowing. "There's something odd about their emotional signatures," she whispered to her aide. "It's like trying to read a blank slate." Meanwhile, Sarah continued her presentation, displaying holographic images of Earth's cities, natural wonders, and rudimentary space stations. To the Council, it all seemed quaint, almost primitive. Yet there was an undercurrent of unease among some of the more experienced diplomats. Humanity's rise to the galactic stage had been meteoric, almost too fast to be believable. As the presentation concluded, Zexlor called for a vote on Earth's admission. The humans waited patiently as arguments erupted across the chamber. "They're barely out of their gravity well," protested Ambassador Crothel of the Ulrak Dominion. "Perhaps, but their adaptability is remarkable," countered Representative Eloxy of the Spore Colonies. "They've survived challenges that would have annihilated less robust species." After hours of heated debate, a consensus was reached. Grand Arbiter Zexlor's voice boomed through the chamber. "The Galactic Council has decided to admit Earth as a probationary member, with limited rights and responsibilities." The human delegation accepted the decision with grace, bowing respectfully to the Council. As they turned to leave, Sarah caught the eye of Matriarch Zara, who was still watching them intently. The ambassador offered a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes before donning her helmet once more. Outside the council chambers, the Earth delegation made their way to their ship, a vessel that looked like it had been cobbled together from spare parts and sheer optimism. Other diplomats gave them a wide berth, some openly sneering at the ramshackle craft. Once inside, however, the atmosphere changed dramatically. The interior of the ship was a stark contrast to its exterior, sleek, advanced, and humming with barely contained power. The team quickly shed their bulky spacesuits, revealing form-fitting uniforms underneath that seemed to shimmer with embedded technology. Sarah's expression hardened as she turned to her team. Initial phase complete. Thoughts. Jackson, no longer the nervous-looking lieutenant but now radiating quiet confidence, spoke first. They bought it hook, line, and sinker, Ambassador. The empathics were the only ones who seemed suspicious, but even they couldn't pierce our psi shielding. Dr. Ivan Okoro, the team's xenobiologist, chimed in. The level of arrogance in that room was staggering. Did you see how they dismissed our medical advancements as mere folk remedies? She shook her head, a wry smile playing on her lips. If they only knew about the nanomed breakthroughs we're sitting on. Let's not get cocky, Sarah cautioned, though there was a glint of satisfaction in her eyes. This is just the beginning. Commander Rodriguez, what's our status? Rodriguez, the team's tactical officer, pulled up a holographic display of the galaxy. Hundreds of tiny points of light blinked into existence, representing hidden human outposts and stealth ships scattered throughout Council space. We're good to go, Ambassador. Our deep cover agents are in place in every major Council race. The Phantom Fleet is on standby, cloaked and ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Sarah nodded, taking in the information. The fate of humanity rested on this elaborate deception. Earth had learned long ago, through bitter experience, that revealing their true capabilities too soon would lead to fear, aggression, and possibly extinction at the hands of paranoid alien races. All right, people, we've got our foot in the door. Now comes the hard part, playing the long game. As the team settled in for the journey back to Earth, the ship's true nature was revealed. What appeared to be a rickety hull from the outside was, in fact, a shell concealing cutting-edge stealth technology. With a command from Sarah, the outer layer shimmered and fell away, revealing a sleek, predatory vessel that quickly vanished from all conventional sensors. Back in the council chambers, most delegates had already forgotten about the quaint humans and their probationary status. But in a quiet corner, Matriarch Sarah sat deep in thought, unable to shake the feeling that they had all just underestimated humanity in a very dangerous way. Light years away, as Earth's leaders received the encrypted transmission from Sarah's team, a plan millennia in the making continued to unfold. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as silent guardians, preparing for threats the Council races couldn't even imagine. In the depths of a hidden facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, a colossal ship took shape, a dreadnought carrying the hopes and fears of an entire species. Its very existence was Earth's best-kept secret, and, potentially, the salvation of the galaxy. As Sarah's ship streaked through hyperspace, she allowed herself a moment of reflection. The deception felt wrong on a personal level, against her nature as a diplomat, but she understood the necessity. Humanity had nearly destroyed itself countless times before reaching the stars. They wouldn't let the same mistakes play out on a galactic scale. Sometimes, she mused to herself, the best way to forge true friendship is to first weather misunderstanding. With that thought, she turned her attention to the next phase of humanity's grand strategy, a strategy that would either usher in an era of true galactic peace or ignite a conflict that would reshape the very fabric of the cosmos. The game was afoot, and humanity was playing for the highest stakes imaginable. Brewing storm. The relative peace of the Galactic Council lasted precisely 6 standard months after Earth's admission as a probationary member. It was shattered on a quiet Tuesday by Earth reckoning, when the Zarkoth Empire launched a series of devastating surprise attacks on key Council worlds. Alarms blared through the Council's central command center on Arcturus Prime. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing real-time footage of Zarkoth warships tearing through defensive lines like paper. The massive tentacled creatures that made up the Zarkoth race had long been considered a minor nuisance at the edges of civilized space. No one had anticipated this level of aggression, or military might. Grand Arbiter Zexlor's gelatinous form quivered with a mix of fear and rage as he addressed the emergency session. How did we not see this coming? Where did they get this level of technology? Before anyone could respond, a calm voice cut through the chaos. If I may, Grand Arbiter. All eyes turned to Sarah Chen, Earth's ambassador, standing serenely amidst the panic. Zexlor's eye stalks swiveled towards her. Ambassador Chen, unless Earth has suddenly developed the ability to repel an armada, I suggest you remain silent. Sarah's lips quirked in a small smile. Actually, Grand Arbiter, we'd like to volunteer our fleet to assist with civilian evacuations. A ripple of disbelieving laughter swept through the chamber. Chancellor Krill's crystalline form vibrated with derision. Your fleet? You mean those half-dozen tugboats you call starships? They'd be torn apart before they reached the first colony. Nevertheless, Sarah pressed, her voice firm, we offer what aid we can. It's the least we can do as members of this council, probationary or not. There was a moment of stunned silence before Zexlor waved a tentacle dismissively. Fine, fine. Coordinate with Admiral Vexkar. Stay out of the combat zones. We don't need to be rescuing your people on top of everything else. As Sarah bowed and exited the chamber, Matriarch Sarah of the Empathic Collective watched her closely. There was something in the human's emotional aura, a mix of determination, excitement, and anticipation. It unsettled the empath, but before she could ponder it further, another alarm signaled the fall of yet another Council world. In the debris-strewn orbit of Talos II, a small human corvette darted between massive chunks of destroyed space stations. On its hull, hastily painted red crosses identified it as a medical ship. Inside, however, the scene was anything but chaotic. Lieutenant Commander Jackson stood at the helm, his fingers dancing over holographic controls as he guided the ship through the dangerous field. Approaching the colony now, Ambassador, he reported calmly. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Dozens of red dots representing Zarkoth ships swarmed around the beleaguered planet. Take us in, Jackson. Nice and easy. We're just a harmless rescue ship, remember? As they descended into the atmosphere, the true scale of devastation became clear. The colony's capital city was in ruins, its spires toppled and streets clogged with rubble. Zarkoth ground forces, massive, armored forms wielding energy weapons, patrolled the streets, rounding up survivors. This is butchery, Dr. Okoro muttered, her hands clenched at her sides. Sarah's expression hardened. Stay focused. We have a mission. She keyed the ship's comm system. Talos Colony, this is Earth Relief Ship Mercy. We're here to evacuate civilians. Please respond. For a long moment, there was only static. Then, a desperate voice crackled through. Earth ship, this is Governor Lix. Thank the stars, we have wounded trapped in the central bunker. But be warned, the Zarkoth are everywhere. Understood, Governor. We're on our way. As the ship settled into a landing zone near the bunker, Sarah turned to her team. Standard protocol. Defensive measures only. We can't reveal our full capabilities unless absolutely necessary. The team nodded, donning what appeared to be simple environmental suits. In reality, each suit was a technological marvel, capable of deflecting energy weapons and enhancing the wearer's strength tenfold. As they emerged from the ship, a group of Zarkoth soldiers immediately charged towards them, weapons raised. Sarah stepped forward, hands raised. We are a medical team here, too. The lead Zarkoth fired, the energy bolt streaking straight for Sarah's head. In the split second before impact, a shimmering field appeared around her, absorbing the blast harmlessly. The aliens faltered, confused. Sarah's voice turned cold. "As I was saying, we are a medical team. If you fire on us again, we will be forced to defend ourselves. Is that clear?" The Zarkov commander, a hulking figure with scarred tentacles, assessed the situation. After a tense moment, he growled an order to his troops, and they backed away, letting the humans pass. As the team made their way to the bunker, Sarah tapped her communicator. "Rodriguez, what's the fleet's status?" Commander Rodriguez's voice came through clearly, despite being light years away on Earth. "The Phantom Fleet is in position, cloaked, and awaiting orders. The Zarkov don't suspect a thing." "Good. Maintain surveillance, and be ready to move on my command." Inside the bunker, they found hundreds of injured colonists, a mix of various council races. Dr. Okoro immediately began triage, using advanced medical techniques that seemed like miracle cures to the watching aliens. As they worked, Sarah approached Governor Lix, a willowy being with luminescent skin. "Governor, we need to evacuate as many as we can. Our ship can take about 100. Lix's bioluminescence flickered with distress. "But there are thousands here. The other council ships are overwhelmed. They can't reach us." Sarah placed a reassuring hand on the governor's arm. "We have more ships on the way. I promise you, we'll get everyone out." Over the next several hours, the human team worked tirelessly, ferrying groups of evacuees to their ship and making multiple runs to a nearby council safe zone. With each trip, they gathered crucial intelligence on Zarkov positions and capabilities. During one evacuation run, their ship was ambushed by a Zarkov cruiser. Energy bolts splashed against the corvette's hull, which should have torn the small ship apart. Instead, the blasts dissipated harmlessly. Inside, Jackson allowed himself a small grin. "Shall I return fire, Ambassador?" Sarah considered for a moment. "A warning shot only. Let's not show our full hand just yet." A single pinpoint-accurate laser blast lanced out from the human ship, slicing through the Zarkov cruiser's main weapon array with surgical precision. The larger ship immediately broke off its attack, retreating in confusion. By the time the last evacuee was secured, Sarah's team had saved over 1,000 colonists, far more than their ship should have been able to carry. As they prepared to leave, Governor Lix approached Sarah, his skin glowing with a mix of gratitude and curiosity. "Ambassador, I don't understand. Your ship, your technology, it's far beyond what we were led to believe." Sarah smiled enigmatically. "Let's just say Earth believes in being prepared, Governor. We may be newcomers to the galactic stage, but we've learned to expect the unexpected." As their ship broke atmosphere, Sarah received an urgent communication from Earth. The Zarkov had launched a major offensive against the heart of Council space. The Council fleet was in disarray, facing imminent defeat. Sarah's eyes hardened as she processed the information. She turned to her team, her voice resolute. "It's time. Send the signal to the Phantom Fleet. We're done hiding." Across Council space, cloaking fields shimmered and fell away, revealing hundreds of advanced human warships that had been hiding in plain sight. The true might of Earth's military was about to be unveiled, and the galaxy would never be the same. As they set course for the main battle, Sarah allowed herself a moment of reflection. The deception had been necessary, but it weighed heavily on her. She hoped that once this crisis was averted, humanity could forge genuine friendships with the Council races. But first, they had a war to win. "All ships, this is Ambassador Chen," she broadcast to the human fleet. "The gloves come off. Show them what humanity can do." Unveiling the trap, the Zarkov offensive had reached a fever pitch. In the Orion Arm, the combined fleets of the Galactic Council found themselves backed into a corner, fighting a desperate battle against an enemy that seemed to have an endless supply of ships and an insatiable appetite for conquest. At the heart of the maelstrom floated the Council's flagship, the Celestial Harmony, its once pristine hull now scarred and blackened from countless energy impacts. Inside its command center, Grand Arbiter Zexlor's gelatinous form quivered with each impact that rocked the ship. "Status report," he demanded, his translator barely keeping up with his agitated burbling. Admiral Vexkar, a towering insectoid with compound eyes that reflected the chaos of the battle screens, chittered grimly. "It's not good, Arbiter. We've lost contact with the Arcturus fleet. The Zarkov have broken through our last line of defense in the Cygnus sector. At this rate, we'll be overrun within hours." Chancellor Krill's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained panic. "Where are the humans? They promised support." As if on cue, a communications officer called out, "Incoming transmission from the Earth fleet, sir." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing Ambassador Sarah Chen's face. Unlike the haggard and stressed expressions of the council leaders, she appeared calm and collected. "Greetings, council members. I apologize for our delay. We experienced some navigation issues." There was something in her tone, a hint of amusement perhaps, that sent a shiver through Matriarch Sarah's empathic senses. Zexlor's eye stalks quivered with rage. "Navigation issues. The galaxy is falling apart, and you're late because of navigation issues." Sarah's expression remained impassive. "We're moving into position now. Arbiter, I suggest you pull your forces back to Sector G9. We have a plan." "A plan? You? And what fleet?" Krill scoffed. "We've seen your ships, Ambassador. They're no match for the Zarkov." "Nevertheless," Sarah replied coolly, "I strongly advise you to fall back. Things are about to get interesting." Before anyone could argue further, the transmission cut off. Zexlor turned to Admiral Vexkar, indecision clear in his undulating form. Zira spoke up, her luminous eyes fixed on the tactical display. "We should listen to them, Arbiter. There's something more to the humans than we've assumed." After a moment of tense silence, Zexlor nodded. "Do it. Fall back to G9. It's not like we have any better options." As the battered council fleet limped towards the designated sector, the Zarkov pressed their advantage. Their massive dreadnoughts, bristling with energy weapons and launch bays for swarms of fighter craft, moved in for the kill. Aboard the Lid Zarkov ship, Supreme Commander Gorlak watched with cruel satisfaction. His tentacles writhed with pleasure at the sight of the retreating enemy. At last, he gurgled to his subordinates, "The galaxy will be ours. Press forward. Crush them." But as the Zarkov fleet surged forward, something unexpected happened. The human ships, previously dismissed as inconsequential, began to move with a precision and speed that defied their apparent technological level. They weaved between the lumbering Zarkov dreadnoughts, drawing fire and causing confusion in the enemy ranks. On the Celestial Harmony, Chancellor Krill watched in disbelief. "What are they doing? They'll be annihilated." Admiral Vexkar's compound eyes narrowed. "No, look closer. They're hurting the Zarkov." Indeed, the human vessels, despite their small size, were maneuvering the massive Zarkov ships into a tight formation. It was a masterclass in space combat tactics, using the enemy's aggression and overconfidence against them. As the last Zarkov ship was nudged into position, Sarah's voice crackled over the comms once more. "Now, council members, watch closely. You're about to see why Earth doesn't fear the dark spaces between stars." Suddenly, space itself seemed to ripple and tear. A massive gravitational anomaly burst into existence directly behind the Zarkov fleet. Swirling energies of blue and purple formed a maw of cosmic proportions, an artificial wormhole. Gorlak's eyes widened in terror as he realized the trap. Full reverse. Get us out of here. But it was too late. The gravitational pull of the wormhole caught the tightly packed Zarkov fleet, dragging ships inexorably towards its event horizon. On the Council flagship, jaws dropped, for those species that had them, at the sight. "Impossible," Krill whispered. The energy requirements for such a device are well within our capabilities, Sarah's voice replied calmly. The view screen showed her standing on the bridge of a ship that looked nothing like the primitive vessels they'd seen before. Gone was the cramped, junky interior. In its place was a command center that put the Council's best technology to shame. As they watched, the Zarkov fleet disappeared into the maw of the wormhole, their ships crushed and twisted by the immense gravitational forces. In a matter of minutes, the tide of the battle had turned completely. Supreme Commander Gorlak's flagship was the last to be pulled in. As it teetered on the edge of the event horizon, a transmission burst from the doomed vessel. "This isn't over, humans. The Zarkov Empire spans galaxies. We will return, and when we do." His threat was cut short as the ship vanished into the swirling vortex. With a final flash of energy, the wormhole collapsed in on itself, leaving only empty space where the mighty Zarkov Armada had been moments before. A stunned silence fell over the Council fleet. It was Matriarch Zura who finally broke it, her voice filled with awe and a touch of fear. "Ambassador Chen, where exactly did you send them?" Sarah's lips quirked in a small smile. "Let's just say they'll have a long journey home. We've deposited them in a distant dwarf galaxy, one with habitable planets but no spacefaring civilizations for them to prey upon. They'll have to learn to build rather than conquer if they want to survive." Zexlor's gelatinous form rippled with a mix of relief and indignation. You had this capability all along. You let our worlds burn while you waited." Sarah's expression turned serious. "We revealed exactly as much as we needed to, when we needed to. Had we shown our hand too early, the Zarkov might have called in reinforcements or changed tactics. This way, we've dealt with the invasion force decisively." Admiral Vexkar stepped forward, his chitinous mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "A strategically sound decision, even if it cost us in the short term. But why the deception, Ambassador? Why hide your true strength from the Council?" Sarah sighed, a flicker of regret crossing her face. "Humanity has a long history of conflict, Admiral. We've learned the hard way that revealing too much, too quickly, often leads to fear and aggression from others. We needed to understand the galactic political landscape before showing our full capabilities." Chancellor Krill's crystalline form shimmered with indignation. "So all this time, your primitive ships, your bumbling diplomacy. A carefully constructed facade," Sarah confirmed. "One that allowed us to position our true fleet." She gestured, and suddenly the space around them shimmered as hundreds of advanced human warships decloaked, right where we needed them to be. The Council members stared in shock at the armada that had materialized around them. Ships of sleek, organic designs that seemed to blend the best of technology and biology. Vessels that dwarfed even the largest Council dreadnoughts. Matriarch Zura stepped closer to the view screen, her luminous eyes filled with a mix of wonder and apprehension. "What happens now, Ambassador Chen? Where does humanity stand in the galaxy after this revelation?" Matriarch Zura stepped closer to the view screen, her luminous eyes filled with a mix of wonder and apprehension. "What happens now, Ambassador Chen? Where does humanity stand in the galaxy after this revelation?" Sarah's expression softened. "That, Matriarch, is up to the Council. We come not as conquerors, but as protectors. Earth has seen the darkness that lurks between stars, and we've prepared accordingly. We offer our friendship and our shield to those who would stand with us against the true threats that lurk in the cosmic deep." As the Council leaders digested this, alarms blared across the fleet. A junior officer called out, panic in their voice. "Multiple anomalies detected. Massive energy signatures incoming." Sarah's eyes hardened, and not a moment too soon. It seems the Zarkov were merely the vanguard. Council members, prepare yourselves. The real war is about to begin. The view screens lit up with the emergence of a new threat. Eldritch horrors from beyond known space, drawn by the energies of the artificial wormhole. As tentacles of dark matter reached across the stars, humanity stood ready, their deception unveiled, prepared to face the storm alongside their newfound allies. The galaxy would never be the same, and the legend of humanity's grand deception and ultimate reveal would be told for eons to come. The Dreadnought rises. The revelation of humanity's true technological capabilities had barely sunk in when the universe decided to up the ante. Alarms blared across both the Council and human fleets as space itself seemed to tear apart, dark tendrils of otherworldly matter reaching through the newly formed rifts. Ambassador Sarah Chen's voice cut through the chaos, her tone shifting from diplomatic to commanding in an instant. All ships, battle stations, Council vessels, fall back behind our defensive line. This is not an enemy you're equipped to handle. On the Council flagship Celestial Harmony, Grand Arbiter Zexlor's gelatinous form rippled with a mix of fear and indignation. Not equipped. We've faced cosmic horrors before, Ambassador. Sarah's image on the viewscreen shook her head firmly. Not like this, Arbiter. What's coming through those rifts makes the Zarkoth look like a minor inconvenience. As if to punctuate her words, a massive tentacle, darker than the void itself, and seemingly made of pure gravitational force, lashed out from the nearest rift. It struck a Council cruiser, which imploded instantly, crushed by forces that defied conventional physics. Chancellor Krill's crystalline form vibrated with terror. By the cosmic lattice. What are these things? We call them void leviathans, Sarah explained, her voice grim. Entities from a dimension where the laws of physics as we know them don't apply. They feed on the energy of entire stars, and they've been drawn here by the power signature of our wormhole trap. Admiral Vexkar chittered nervously, his compound eyes reflecting the chaotic battle unfolding around them. How do we fight something like that? A small smile played on Sarah's lips. With something equally extraordinary. All human ships, initiate Nexus Protocol. Prepare for Dreadnought synthesis. The response from the human fleet was immediate and astonishing. Hundreds of ships began to move in intricate patterns, their hulls glowing with pulsing blue energy. As the Council watched in awe, the vessels started to merge, joining together like pieces of an impossibly complex puzzle. Impossible, breathed Matriarch Sura, her empathic senses overwhelmed by the sheer coordination and unity of purpose emanating from the human fleet. Sarah's smile widened. Humanity has always excelled at achieving the impossible, Matriarch. Watch closely. You're about to witness the rise of humanity's ultimate defense. As more void leviathans poured through the rifts, tentacles of dark matter lashing out at anything in their path, the human fleet continued its mesmerizing transformation. Smaller ships locked together to form larger structures, which in turn combined with others. The process continued, accelerating as it went, until the scattered human armada had coalesced into a single colossal form. Rising from the center of the reformed fleet was a ship of such immense proportions that it dwarfed even the largest void leviathan. Its hull gleamed with a metal that seemed to absorb and reflect starlight simultaneously. Organic curves blended seamlessly with geometric precision, creating a form that was both beautiful and terrifying. Council members, Sarah announced, her voice filled with pride. I present to you the UNSS Aegis, humanity's dreadnought, and the ultimate expression of our united will.